Hi, this is Dr. Scott Young, and I want to talk to you about a third in a little series here where they're only 10 or 12 minutes long. So, we're going to talk a little bit about the gold currency. And I mean, people are so struggling with this. I mean, I had a conversation with a financial planner about this issue, and we were talking about the fiat currency and the markets. And I'm like, they don't make it, the markets don't make any sense. I mean, inflation's coming off the rails, and idiots try to tell you that inflation's about 8 or 9%. No, 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 no. Inflation in the past, and I don't remember when it is, 10, 12 years ago, whatever it was, they took away the petro amount of inflation, which means the gas. And by the way, the US dollar, the fiat dollar, was pegged back in the 70s to a petrodollar, or it's always been known. That's why OPEC has such a power over America with that. And every time we become, dependent upon our own oil, or independent in that way, that these ugly figures, the elitist figures, pull us back. They drag us back to foreign interests. That's how they do it. That's the illegal nature. If you go back to look at the first video with this. And so the reality is we're sitting at 20-25% inflation. That's why when you go to the grocery store, it freaks out. When you go gas station, it's freaking out. I mean, you're seeing this freak out nature. But reality is inflation is just the way that they're stealing from you. And so it creates more debt, and it creates more higher rates, because the Fed always does this, and it's this cyclical thing. And I will tell you, we are way past the red line on this thing. It isn't like, yeah, we can fix it. And people say, there is no NESARA, there's no GESARA, that's just all lies. And I'm going, you better hope that there's NESARA, GESARA. First off, I know there is, but you better hope so, because if Trump tries to come back without NESARA, GESARA, and he's an economist, so I think he's got a clue how to do this. But if he comes back with that, I mean, inflation's a runaway train. We're not talking about like, oh, he can slow that train down. There's no way to slow this train down. Zero ability to slow that train down. And I mean, because every time you knock up inflationary points and you fake it, what happens is the Fed has to raise the rates just to make inflation not run away. Every time they do that, there was a guy that made an intimation about a car loan, over 800 credit. Now remember, 830 is the top credit line. He's in the best line, and he was offered a 7, and another company doing an 8% loan. There's no way. He's going, that's just ridiculous. That means he's almost paying from most car loans. I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, were 2.75, 2.45s, kind of loans. And you're going, how do you get that? Well, how do you get from there to 7-8%? Doubling your payments. If you're looking at getting a new car, and as long as you're not having a car that's broken down, you're going, I'm not buying a new car. If you're talking about commercial real estate, people are jumping off bridges because it's going that way. Home real estate, no one wants to talk about this, but no one's buying stuff. I mean, no, again, there are some people buying it, but I've watched all those 3 areas. If you knock off home real estate and you deal with commercial real estate and you deal with the car market kind of thing, you're going to wash off a whole load of our economy. And those things are inflated anyway with that too. So that's part of that whole thing. This is a runaway train. The BRICS nations, which is Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, actually have over 209 nations. No one wants to talk about this. They know there's 110 nations or something. The reality is it's way over that. All of them are gold backed. That's why they've aligned against Russia with this Ukrainian issue. I mean, it's a gold issue. That's why Russia goes, hey man, we'll give you oil. we'll give you gas, natural gas that we can give you, but you're going to pay with gold-backed currency. And they're going, we don't want to do it. They could pay with that. Germany could do that, but they don't want to because it means that they have to go onto a gold standard. Now, secretly, all of these nations have already gone there. That's GESARA, guys. That's a gold standard issue. And what you need to understand is that gold standard has already occurred. The quantum financial system is going to be gold standard. When we flip over to the gold standard, it's not going to be rainbow currency. I used to think it was. Okay, so my fault. The reality is we're going to go from a US dollar to a US note. Now, the US note's going to look very similar, but it's going to say backed by the Treasury, not backed by the Fed. So the Fed, and when I say the Fed is dead, it means that the Fed will not have the control mechanisms in there. But the Treasury, which is government owned. So you're not saying you're owned by the government. What we're saying is that the gold is backed by the government, which is constitutional. We just keep going back to this point. It's constitutional in nature. So that's why it is the way that it is. So we're going to go into that U.S. note. Now, later on, they're going to come up with a U.S. Treasury note, USTN, and that might look like the rainbow currency, and we hope that's the case, but I don't care. As soon as you're in the U.S. note, you're going to be fine. Now, how will that occur for people? What will happen is if you have any type of currency point, okay? So, for instance, you got a bank account, you got a CD, you have an IRA, you have pick the thing. Even when you have a credit card, the debt forgiveness in the quantum financial system knocks it to zero. But it doesn't mean that if you use that credit card again, it's now operating under the QFS or the digital currency or the gold currency with that, the US note currency, which means, we'll talk about this one, is that the pricing has to reflect that too. Okay, we'll talk about that one next. But what occurs there is that you're going to see this gold currency, and it's going to be one-to-one. Don't think it's any other derivative. See, that would be what these idiot elites want to do to you. That they have no, and by the way, the Great Reset is all about a digital currency. So they could wipe it out to you anyway. This is going to be a digital and a physical currency. If you want to have it in physical, they don't care. If you want to have it in digital, they don't care. The reality is, when the Saint Germain Fund was pulled over into the quantum financial system, they had to look at it quarter by quarter by quarter by quarter by quarter, every single thing. So 4 quarters in a dollar, right? They had to do every quarter into gold currency. When they did that, they were verifying it had to be that way. And that's what the white hat families wanted it to be. They made the stipulation on that. And so when we move into that, it's already funded to do this. It's funded to do the flipping. It's funded to kill the debt issues. It's funded to have the cash in there. It's funded in a bunch of ways to be able to do things. And people want to talk about other stuff. I don't really get into those areas. But the reality is it's funded. And so you're going to instantly notice that it's going to be a lot better with that. Now, some of the relation conversations that we get into, we do believe that, and by the way, the NESARA documents talk about this. Even the older documents, now they're going to have newer kind of documentation with that. We believe that Social Security and disability kind of things, those will be sitting at $3,000 to $5,000 a month. We don't know the exact number, but we think that's going to come. And by the way, this is late December. I'd have thought this happened a long time ago, but they were doing a military operation. They had to deal with the military side to get the money side, but always follow the money with that. So all of those things had to be coordinated, a go, no go kind of thing to make this thing work. And so once they do that go, no go, and it happens, you're going to start seeing that kind of thing. And you're going to be able to go to the bank and walk in there and do that currency point. And we're going to do that with my father-in-law. He's got a whole bunch of money in a safety deposit box. We'll take it out and we'll give it over to them, and flip it over into the gold currency, and it's going to be cool. What's the price of the gold currency? I don't know. They've already pegged that thing. Pegged means knocked it into a price point. Okay, is it 10,000 for ounce of gold? I don't know. I don't know what the number is, and I really don't care. You're not going to care either, because the reality is, let's say they only peg it at $2,000, peg it at $2,500, peg it at $5,000. I actually have in my book, Revelations of the Red Pill, that a woman back in 1995 intimated, when gold was at 386 an ounce, that she actually said it would be 5,000. That's her statement. And so let's just say it's any one of those numbers. Realize your fiat currency, your dollar in your pocket, your dollar in the bank, is backed by a nothingness. So if it goes to $2,000 or $5,000, you're going to be ecstatic. I mean, your money is going to be in a much better place with that. So chill out, guys. By the way, the BRICS nations have already been there. We're going to be flipping over, and it always goes. When America goes, it all goes. I mean, it all goes, flips in that point. And it's going to come, and it's going to be a really kind of cool thing. But it's going to be some education. You're going to have to learn about how to take care of your money. You're going to have to go backward in time and mentality and do the money in the right way with that. So hope that helps you out and gives you some information. But like and subscribe. Please do that. It's really helpful for me. Thanks so much.